This segment is brought to you by the Family Heart Foundation.
1 in 5 people worldwide have inherited high lipoprotein A, sometimes referred to as Lp(a), a genetic risk factor for premature heart disease and stroke. Joining us now from the Family Heart Foundation are the founder and CEO, Katherine, and the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Mary McGowan. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We are so glad to have you. Now, Katherine, you had quite the health scare, a heart attack at 39. I can't even imagine how scary that must have been. First off, we are so glad that you are still with us. And then you discovered that elevated Lp(a) was one of the factors that led to that. How can that increase the risk of heart disease and stroke?
So Lp(a) is similar to cholesterol, but it is determined almost entirely by genetics. And I had no idea that I had inherited a condition which causes high Lp(a), which meant that from the time I was born, in my vessels that feed my heart and my brain, plaque was building up and inflammation was irritating the inside of my arteries. So in fact, I did have a heart attack at the age of 39. I had to advocate for myself because even the medical community tends to think of heart disease as a disease of the elderly, but that's not always the case. As you said, 1 in 5 people have elevated lipoprotein(a), which makes it extraordinarily common, but it is rarely diagnosed and is not being tested in a standardized way in the United States. And that's one of the pieces of work that the Family Heart Foundation is doing, is to address the awareness, but also in hopes of standardizing this testing so more people have the opportunity to understand if they're at risk.
Now, Dr. McGowan, who should have their Lp(a) measured and when?
Yes, I'm going to answer that, but before I do, I'd just like to say that one of the fathers of cardiovascular genetics was from Salt Lake City, Roger Williams, who sadly passed away too early in a plane crash, but he was on the forefront of studying lipoprotein(a). Everyone should have their lipoprotein(a) measured. Lipoprotein(a) occurs in 1 in 5 individuals, elevated lipoprotein(a). 65 million Americans with elevated lipoprotein(a), and most don't know they have it because only about 1% of Americans have been tested. We know that we reach our adult level of lipoprotein(a) fairly early in life, and so everyone should be screened, and should be screened very likely in childhood.
And Katherine, you were talking a little bit about the gap in medical care. How is your foundation helping to bridge that gap?
So we are engaged in research. That's why we know that about 1% of the American population has had their Lp(a) screened. We also do advocacy work to protect individuals with genetic conditions that lead to cardiovascular disease, and importantly, we're raising awareness. There is low awareness within the medical community as well as the public at large about lipoprotein(a) and other genetic drivers of cardiovascular disease.
I am so glad that you guys are doing this work.
March 24th.
This is such important work. You can go for more information to the website on your screen. Thank you so much, Doctor, and thank you, Katherine, for all the work you're doing and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.